All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. As you can tell, Bill Woodrum is out today, so I will be covering. So we are going to go ahead and get started with our spotlight program. We have Domenica, Queen, and she is with the Tamarack Foundation for the Arts. So Domenica, I will go ahead and let you share your screen and get started.
All right. Just a reminder, if everyone could mute themselves, please.
Thanks for the introduction, Tara. Let me get my screen share up here and get myself into presentation mode properly. All right. So I'll go ahead and get started. I am Domenica Queen, as was mentioned. I am the program manager at the Tamarack Foundation for the Arts, and we are focused on growing the creative economy of West Virginia. So today I'll give you an overview of the work our organization does and some of the resources we have that are beneficial to entrepreneurs and small businesses. So our mission as an organization is to curate relationships that empower and inspire creatives in West Virginia to play an active role in the ecosystem of our state's economy, which is why I'm here with you guys today. And we do this by providing essential tools and entrepreneurship training that enhances professional and artistic skill. Now, we believe that the arts are a powerful tool to diversify the state's economy and build vibrant, prosperous communities. A strong, impactful arts sector needs an ecosystem, and that ecosystem kind of comes in two parts as far as we're concerned. We need both a professionalized workforce of creative talent and a supportive community that's prepared to embrace the arts for development. So we kind of look at that as two halves working with each other. We want to make artists easier to work with, and we want to make communities and businesses ready to embrace the arts so that everyone can benefit from each other. Now, to give you a little bit of history of the organization, we've shifted a little bit over time. We have actually been running since 2002. The Tamarack Foundation for the Arts was founded in response to the construction of the Tamarack in Beckley, which needed to cultivate artisans for their marketplace. Now we are a separate entity from what is now the Tamarack Marketplace. And in the past, our program supported primarily fine crafters and visual artists. And we were developing business models focused on wholesale. So it was a very narrow picture of what creativity and what creativity could do for the economy of West Virginia. So throughout the years, especially in the last 5 years, we've shifted our mission to serve creatives with a wider variety of business models because we found our previous approach was leaving a large part of the arts sector behind and underleveraged. So now that we are shifted over to this mode, this wider view of what creativity can look like in West Virginia, especially when it comes to economic development, what does that actually look like as far as what our organization does? Well, we are working with artists who are building careers in the region, and we hear over and over again that creatives are just not good at business. And I have trouble believing that because what happens is that creatives in our area, especially, they are often just not accustomed to dealing with the business side of their creativity. And we almost never hear artists self-describe as entrepreneurs and small business owners, even though they are. So what we're trying to do is shift the mindset of creatives in West Virginia. And with resources like the SBDC, the West Virginia Hive, this entrepreneurship ecosystem call that we have, there are lots of really great resources to begin to understand how to be an entrepreneur in the state and what resources there are available for you. So the thing is that we do have this situation where a lot of artists are not confident enough to engage with these traditional resources that are already out there. And they often don't feel respected as contributors to the local economy. So they tend to get brushed off. So we are shifting those mindsets away from, arts as a hobby, or, arts is just a frou-frou fluffy thing. It's, an economic driver, and it really builds up communities, and it can be a very, very profitable way to make a living. So to do this mindset shift, we have a lot of different programs, and a cornerstone program for us is the Emerging Artists Fellowship. This fellowship was established in 2016, and it's in its third cohort right now. The fellowship provides technical training, mentoring, consulting, branding, and a monetary stipend to assist each fellow with the successful development and launch of their creative business. Through increased visibility, marketing, and networking, we assist each fellow to integrate into local, regional, and national markets and access professional development. Now, we are really intensive with each of our fellows to tailor solutions just for them. And we can't currently devote this level of attention to every artist in the state. So we use what we learn from the cohorts of the Emerging Artist Fellows to develop the rest of our programming. So we will do entrepreneurship and professional development workshops, such as, arts and money. We also have one that's, we're running a co-starters group now that helps creative entrepreneurs develop their business models. We'll do boot camps and things like that to, bring in this entrepreneurship skill to our artists, because we see that our emerging artists really benefit from those courses. We also have an opportunities newsletter, because we find that a lot of things that artists need most is just to kind of know what opportunities are out in the area. It's easy to kind of get lost in the shuffle, and we're not always the best at talking to each other about what's going on in the region. So we have an opportunities newsletter where we try to collect as many things that are available for our artists as possible. And not just local stuff, but like national things, grants with the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History, national level grants like Our Town grants and things like that. So we try to bring all of those opportunities together in a way that we can disperse. And then we also have the West Virginia Creative Network, which is a program at the very base level. It's a directory of artists in West Virginia, but it does a lot more to help us build a collective group of artists and creatives of all kinds that are trying to be professional about their work. So in addition to giving artists tools for economic impact, we are also empowering businesses and communities to realize the power of creativity through creative placemaking and community development. The businesses in a community will benefit
Domenica, I think you're frozen.
So we do.
You were frozen just for a few seconds, unless it was just.
Oh, okay. I was saying that there are a lot of wonderful collaborations between arts and business and communities happening in West Virginia, but we want to see more and more of that wherever possible. And this collaboration is a very powerful tool to revitalize an area. So I won't go into too much detail about this subject because it's pretty big, but we have the experiences, connections, and case studies to share with anybody who's working on projects like this that bring together business and arts, or community and arts, or all three, to sort of revitalize communities. We've even developed some toolkits. A couple of years ago, we received an Our Town grant through the NEA, which gave us the resources to go across the state and search out different communities and businesses that were doing successful creative projects in their communities. And we use those as case studies to build out no-nonsense toolkits about things like running an open mic night, setting up an art walk, making an artist co-op, things like that, running a gallery. So we have 6 of those toolkits, which I would be very happy to share out. And then, of course, going back to the West Virginia Creative Network directory, we have a centralized location that that has a lot of artistic talent. So it makes it easier to find people to work with whenever you're trying to put together projects like that. So we definitely have all of that to share. So let's go into the creative network a little bit more deeply, because I feel like this is the broadest tool that would be helpful to the most people on this call. This creative network, it helps artists and creatives gain visibility in the state, and it also makes them much easier for businesses to find to partner with. The West Virginia Creative Network is the premier statewide online networking directory to connect creatives with peers, to increase connections in communities of practice, access opportunities for artistic and professional development, and learn about career opportunities. So we have over 250 members right now. We are growing as quickly as we can. I think we are at, I want to say the real number is 265 at the moment. All creatives are welcome to apply. In the past, we were focused on visual arts and fine craft. However, we have expanded our network to include like the literary arts and performance arts, such as music and theater. We find that we are much stronger together, and a lot of the different things and programming that we have put together for our visual artists really goes along a lot of the same lines as people who are putting together careers as writers or as performers as well. So our creative network now encompasses all of those fields. So we welcome anyone's applications if you're looking for more visibility within the state as a creative or as a creative business. It's definitely something you should look into. So back to the benefits for creatives and for business owners a little bit. We have that visibility aspect. So the directory listing is a page on our website, and it's good for visibility because it will give you more search ranking results. We try to share this list with as many people as possible because we want people to see the talent that's in the state. It also helps build a community. If you're a creative network member, we kind of try to help each other out as much as we can. And whether that's sharing opportunities or participating in our discussion group on Facebook, we like to talk shop. We have a lunch and learn series that we just started where we try to, bring people on who have had certain experiences so that we can, just learn from each other as a group. And then it also gives you more access to the resources that the Tamarack Foundation has. It allows us to keep an open line of communication with these artists. And then for business owners, it does make it a lot easier to find local talent. You can search by county and you can search by medium right now. In the future, we have a lot of growing to do on this. So we're hoping to make a more robust app that has better search features and a little bit more detail. But right now, every listing is going to display a bio, artist statement, and work samples all in one place. So if you have a project or something where you're trying to vet talent, you can pull up tabs for everybody and get a brief overview and decide who you want to look into more or who you want to, reach out to through the communications methods they've got listed on their profile. So it really helps find more talent in the area. And of course, we have a statewide footprint. So for those of you who are working in a specific area that are trying to get creative talent to, help with your business in some way, you are often limited to like the people who are really geographically close to you. So you are now able to sort of reach out of your local networks, but still support entrepreneurship in West Virginia. So it makes it much easier to find those people. And then finally, if you have an opportunity or a job position or a prospectus or something that you need to get out to artists and creatives in West Virginia, we're happy to share that through our newsletter and through our discussion group. So definitely keep us in mind if you have something coming up that you need to post out. We are really happy always to get more opportunities to share with our artists. So just to kind of recap on sharing some tools and resources with all of these programs and relationships we're building, we also refer artists out to other resources as they become confident entrepreneurs. So if you guys have resources that you think would benefit creative entrepreneurs, people who have sort of a freelancer mindset, other opportunities like the ones I mentioned before, we are very happy to kind of help connect up as they become, shifted in that mindset. Because we are professionalizing local creatives, we're empowering artists as entrepreneurs, and we're being that bridge to small business resources. So if anything like that comes up, please get in touch. And then on our end, what we would like to share with you, again, that directory for creative entrepreneurs, you can find that on our website. It's tamarackfoundation.org, and it's the West Virginia Creative Network on there. We also have those toolkits, which are listed on the website as well. And we have that community experience of going through different projects with different organizations around the state. So if there's something a little bit more complex you want to reach out about, send us an email. We're happy to talk. We also have connections for cross-sector collaboration. For example, we recently did a Percent for Art project with the new Kroger that was put in Taze Valley. They set aside a portion of their budget whenever they do a new build out to hire a local artist to make something for the stores. And we helped administer that because it's a lot of bandwidth to ask an artist to interact with a large company like that and all of the, forms and methods that they have for administering that. So we were the fiscal sponsor for that. So things like that. We can help administer stuff like that. And then finally, we also have training and workshops for creatives. So if you know a creative entrepreneur or someone who's kind of in that startup stage of trying to decide what they want their creative life to be like, point them in our direction. We love helping people figure out their creative careers. And we also want creatives in West Virginia to understand that it's really doable to live a creative life here, to have enough to live on, but also be making things that you love and being a really impactful part of your community. So, we have training and workshops for creatives. So send us all of your creative friends. And then finally, I would just like to say that the arts are a powerful transformative tool for community and economic development. And I hope that we at the Tamarack Foundation can be of service to some of you as you have different projects come up and as your businesses overlap with the creative arts in West Virginia. And I'm going to leave this slide up for a little bit. This is all the contact information for us. Again, I'm Domenica Queen, Program Manager. Renee Margosi is our Executive Director. And some of you guys might know Angelica Armstrong. I believe she was on a couple of calls ago. She's our Creative Network Liaison, and she helps handle the administration of getting all of our creatives, listed with profiles and approved through the application process we have. And I would be very happy to take any questions that anybody has.
Thank you so much, Domenica. I think that was really helpful. We have tons of people that we can connect you to through this network. We do have one question in the chat. Sharon asked, will this PowerPoint be available to attendees? And then I also just wanted to send out a reminder that this entire meeting will be recorded and put online and also distributed out. But would you be willing to share your PowerPoint in addition to that?
Oh, of course, yes. Yeah, I'll send it over at the end of this meeting. Tara, is it okay if I send it to you?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. It's Sharon. When you say fine arts, the artists who are covered, fine arts, visual art, writers, and performers, is that under performers, would that also be musicians?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we have really opened it up in the past year and a half because we found that it would be more beneficial to everyone involved. Because if you are a musician and you need a poster, you need a designer. If you want to write a press release, you need a writer. And if we are having a show, we probably want some music at it. So we really have opened up the network to include all forms of creativity. We have a lot of categories on that application form.
That's great. Thank you.
And we have another one in the chat. James asks, is handmade jewelry, CPG, also considered fine arts?
Handmade jewelry. I don't know what CPG stands for, but generally, yes. You know, fine arts and crafts in general. Really, anybody who is making something creative in West Virginia is welcome to the party.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh,
he
consumer
says-
packaged goods. Yes, we do. Honestly, we started out working with wholesalers. So that is more of what this organization has a background in. We used to do a program, it was called Rural to Urban Markets. And so that was a thing where we would set people up to go to these big craft shows. And we learned a lot from that program. We're not doing that anymore. However, yes, we do have support for people who are doing more like wholesale, retail, that sort of thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. And I also put your email address and website in the chat. And then I also would love to see that Facebook. So if you could drop the Facebook link in the chat, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I will go dig that up. Is it all right if I stop sharing the screen? Is it, you've got those emails in the chat? Okay, I'm going to stop.
Yes.
And then I will put some presents for all of you guys in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you, Domenica. All right, next up we have Sarah Riley, who is the executive director at High Rocks. Sarah, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. And so I'm going to do a combination of a little bit of screen share. I'm trying to not to take too much time. I'm so grateful to have the invitation because unlike other calls I'm on, when I get on this call, I don't know hardly anybody. So it's really wonderful. And I appreciate the chance. I'm the executive director of High Rocks. And our mission at High Rocks is to educate, empower, and inspire young people in West Virginia and beyond. So I will warn you that the High Rocks looks very little like an organization that grownups thought up and looks exactly like what a program and an organization looked like after 25 years of working in partnership with young people about what they needed. And in the last 25 years, starting from a community grassroots organization with nothing but volunteers, has really grown into a regional leader in youth work and working with young people, and has expanded more recently into stuff that's directly relevant to this network. So first of all, I would say High Rocks is what I would call a classic social enterprise when you look at what we've been able to do in terms of growing over 25 years. But I want to share my screen with you for a second, because I think that hearing from our participants is the best way to understand what's happening. Do you guys all see a blank about the High Rocks video screen? I can't see nodding heads.
Yes, yes, yep, go ahead.
Sometimes the ability to do something starts with little more than a belief that it can be done.
Other times, that ability comes from the surprise of rising to an unexpected challenge.
At High Rocks, we discover new potentials and abilities every day.
From self-expression to community engagement,
From new opportunities and learning,
to creating tools and best practices,
that build and grow organizations.
from empowering and inspiring a single student,
to building innovative movements for change.
We realize ourselves
in every step we take.
We know that triggering hopes and dreams,
often requires a push from the outside.
As much as it does from within,
if we believe in unseen possibilities,
we also have to work to discover
That rare genius
that inner pearl.
manifests before our eyes.
is this your journey?
If so, High Rocks is here,
Working for over 20 years,
turning what ifs
if onlys,
Then why not?
into nothing short of true.
because we're more than just dreamers.
We're doers.
And we know it's possible for you to move
Mountains.
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 And there's a lot of things that Hyrax does. You see the website is in there at the very end. In just a couple minutes, I'm going to take you through a couple highlight places that I would encourage you to land as the entrepreneurship ecosystem as part of your view there. But one of the things that we learned working in Hyrax is that, number one, so we work with target ages 12 to 29. And what we realized in that time taught by our students is that young people were not getting the kinds of opportunities that they really needed to in terms of enrichment and development to grow into entrepreneurs or to work at Google or any of the kinds of things that we want all of our children to be able to have the options to do, because a lot of our kids are low income. And so we started to work very deliberately to create programs in which young people could be earning and learning, which brought us very quickly to entrepreneurship and social enterprise. And so we've now launched 3 programs, 3 youth partnership businesses. The first one is the Hub Cafe in Lewisburg, and the Hub Cafe serves with our partner Fruits of Labor, but teas and coffees, and really has grown over COVID to meet a crazy food insecurity that we saw. So it's also feeding a dinner special that's free for young people and low cost for community members. And those young people in that program are really learning leadership skills. They're learning about running the business, all the different parts of it. So both the culinary and front of house skills, but also how to think like a leader, how to problem solve, how to deal with financials. Out of that grew our second youth social enterprise, and that's Tech Express. And so Tech Express, young people are learning to repair computers, and they're also learning to provide tech support to people in the community that are struggling with their technology. And the third one is the Ruby Grow program. And so in that program, we focus on wholesale organic vegetable production. And those young farmers are also learning to run that business in partnership with us. It's been pretty amazing. And that's relatively new work for us. Last year, between those 3 businesses, they brought in almost $70,000, which almost, I mean, it didn't pay for everything, right? But it almost paid for all of the stipends that the young people were earning working in those programs and learning those skills, which was pretty phenomenal. Another important network and program that Hyrax is partnering on that I want to make sure you guys know about is the First 2 Network. So the First 2 Network is focused on the first 2 years of college and specifically on first generation or other underrepresented STEM majors. So there's a lot of entrepreneurial opportunity in the STEM economy. And in terms of being able to develop a pipeline for STEM entrepreneurs, but also a STEM workforce to work with entrepreneurs. So if any of you guys have internships, opportunities for young people that are really interested in pursuing STEM careers, it's one of the things that I loved about the meeting last month with our CBI. I was like, oh, let's do you. And so I'd really encourage you to take a look there. And the last thing that I wanted to make sure was on everybody's radar today is that we are launching a new project and a new network. And I think this is really going to fall very centrally with this network being a real natural partner for them. So we just got an Appalachian Regional Commission Power Grant, which means that we can put some seed money in to lift up a new network across the state of West Virginia called the West Virginia Jobs Network. So I know from working with young people, and you guys probably do too, young people in West Virginia believe there is no opportunity here for them. At the same time, small business owners, entrepreneurs, employers have a really hard time finding quality applicants and keeping them once they find them. So it can't be true at the same time that there's no opportunity and that there's nobody to hire. So the West Virginia Jobs Network is bringing together partners across the state to help fill that recruiting gap. So I don't know how much you guys have been feeling the pinch in your different businesses, but I talk to entrepreneurs all the time who are like, I work by myself because it's too hard to find anybody to hire. And that's why I haven't grown my business. And I'm like, I hear you. And let's work on that because we should be able to do that. So that is brand new. I'm going to share my screen just again for a quick second. I don't know if any of you guys realized that I was actually in my web browser editing software because today my web developer came through just in honor of you guys to add a new page to our website. So this is our homepage if you haven't been here. So just want to tell you, you can come here to the Hyrax website. You'll see the Hub, Tech Express, Ruby Grow. Those are the 3 youth entrepreneurship programs that I was talking about. The First 2 Network is here. And this webpage is brand new. It was only born at 12 o'clock today, just barely in time. So this could be up here on the website in case any of you guys were interested in getting connected with the West Virginia Jobs Network. So you can find that there. Anyway, it's awfully nice to meet you guys, and it's really nice to be connected to a new network of people that are really thinking about in innovative ways, how can we grow cool ideas in the state of West Virginia? And I am always in to talk about that. But if you guys have any questions or you want to connect, I'll put is my email address already in the chat? Oh yeah, there it is. But I'm not sure how we are on time, so I'm not sure if we have time for questions or not. I promised myself I wouldn't talk very long, but I always seem to talk for a long time.
Claire, would you like to drop that web page that you just showed us into the chat? Does anyone have any questions? All right, well, thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate it. That was really cool. Okay. Next up, I am telling you guys about bridging innovation. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I just want to make sure that everyone is aware, April 4th through 8th, we are having Bridging Innovation. So go ahead and mark your calendars and save that date or those dates. We will be in Charleston, West Virginia, several different competitions throughout the week. University of Charleston's having their I3 competition that Monday. The Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Conference is that Tuesday. We would love for every single one of you to be there. Wednesday, we will have the West Virginia statewide high school business plan competition, the collegiate business plan competition, and Marshall's business model competition. Thursday, W Extension will be doing a youth entrepreneurship and action day, partnered with the Department of Education. We'll also have Seed West Virginia that day, and we will have a veterans showcase, entrepreneurial showcase Thursday night, and then we will wrap up the week with Trans Tech and their conference. So please mark your calendars. Bill and I are getting ready to launch the website. We have all the registrations ready to go. We have hotel blocks at the Marriott. So if you guys will need a hotel, all that information will be on the website when we send it out in December. And with that, I will send it over to Tina for your announcement.
Great, thank you. Just a short announcement for everyone. As you know, we have our monthly Rural Rise calls on Thursday. And so next week we have one November the 18th at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we're moving from advocacy to action, how systematic challenges impact marginalized communities and rural entrepreneurship ecosystems and what you can do to change it. So I know it's a long title, but what we're trying to do is really have people we're going to start with the story and how these marginalized communities are really impacted in rural communities all across the country, and what we can do and what you can do as ecosystem builders to really focus on programming and things for those communities. So join us. I'll put everything in the chat box so you'll be able to register for that. And then in spring of 2022, which is hard to believe that it's actually 2022, but we are, Rural Rise will be in Emporia, Kansas for a in-person, fingers crossed, our ecosystem summit. And we launched that a few years ago in West Virginia in Canaan Valley. And I think a few of you all were there. So we're super excited to get back in person next year. So thank you, Tara.
Awesome, thanks, Tina. All right, Deacon, do you want to talk about the Tri-State Makes Festival? Deacon Stone.
Well, hi guys. I'm sorry I hadn't prepared for that. We have some visitors in our Maker Vault, and I'm glad I can pop in here and give you a quick chat and update about the West Virginia Makes Festival, which is up on our website, accepting entries at rcbi.org. And it is a continued investment in kind of part of the magic that you see around me right now, the Maker Vault here in Huntington. This is a membership accessed makerspace with tons of different 3D printing technologies. We use these to engage young people and old alike, inventors, innovators, and others in advancing their ideas and their concepts, or simply building skill through making. So even if you're printing Pikachu, there's a great deal of learning to be had with wonderful projects like that. So this year, West Virginia Make Festival will be a tri-state celebration of making. We are working in partnership with Shawnee State University and the Lights Regional Network of Maker Spaces, of which we are a hub, and co-promoting this to really break down the walls, reach across the river. We've always had a great deal of interaction with our partners, schools, and innovators from all around the region. We just want to recognize that by dubbing this year's festival the Tri-State Makes Festival. And you can go to rcdi.org. You can find a save the date where if you join that, we will continue to update you. Sign up for our newsletter. That is always the first release we ever make. You'll be the first to find out about everything. And I mean everything. It's not just STEM education and making, but making as it pertains to industry and manufacturing and production through our shared manufacturing and technical services here at RCDI. So that's a piece of what Makes Festival is and is to us. It is a contest open to young people of all ages with youth and adult categories for competitors. We'll have over $5,000 in prizes, including 3D printer kits, as well as for a few awardees, dollars to take their idea to the next level with the engineering services available here at RCDI. So I hope you go there and find out more.
Thanks, Deacon. All right, and then just one update from Bill. He wanted me to remind everyone to make sure you check out Business Link's events page. Make sure that you're submitting your events and checking out what other people are doing. And then I will open it up. Is there any other announcements that anyone would like to make?
I'd like to share with the group that on this past Friday, Country Roads Angel Network was able to host our first ever in-person event. It was a dual event, in person and virtually, where we were able to kind of celebrate our success to date on the back of closing our third investment, the week prior. And it was just really good to get everybody in one room. We've been living in Zoom world for, since we launched in March 2020. And it was just really great to have all of our members that could make it in person there in the room, stakeholders and potential new members. So we were really happy to be able to do that. And we're really excited with the growth of CRAN. And so other, businesses that you're working with that are seeking capital, make sure I'll put my email in the chat, make sure to connect. And, we're growing our investors as well. We have over 20 investors now, and we've invested $410,000 in 3 companies and have helped those companies leverage over $2 million now. So we're steadily growing. We're excited to move into this new year coming. So just wanted to throw that out there, Tara, and I will put my contact information in the chat.
Excellent. Thanks, Peyton. Any other announcements? Bill and I did want to take a moment of remembrance for Guy Peduto. Guy passed away a couple of weeks ago, and he was such a champion of entrepreneurship and a huge part of this ecosystem, and he will be dearly missed. And so we want to make sure we announce that we are sending our thoughts and prayers out to his wife, Donna. In lieu of flowers, the family is starting a scholarship around entrepreneurship. So I will put the information in the chat if any of you would like to contribute to that scholarship. We would love you to do that. So with that, we will close out the November.
Terry, just quickly, I didn't have a question, but I had a small accolade that I wanted to share with you guys and with the group, which is that as a newcomer to the ecosystem, and I think you guys have done a good job with your website. And in terms of resources and events, like it's hard to figure out how you articulate that stuff across a network like this one. And so in some of the other networks that I've worked in the last month, I've been like, hey, you guys, come over here and look at this. I think this is like a good example of how to do this well. So I've been holding you up as a good example, and thank you for all of your hard work connecting all of us.
Well, thank you for your kind words. We love to do it. It's all about collaboration, and it doesn't work without everyone here being a part of the puzzle. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all you do. With that, we'll close out the November meeting. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week and weekend.